Just think, 4 of Canada's champion horses last year came right through this sale. Jen?
Yeah, sorry.
Oh my gosh.
I'm kind of sleepy.
What's your move when you're gonna bid? Like, what do you do?
Over here, over here.
Oh my God, you're so embarrassing. It's gotta be more subtle, something like this. That's all I do. Just a little tap of the nose. I can't wait.
Each to his own.
We got some great seats.
All right.
Straight ahead on Talkin Horse Racing. We'll take you inside the 2017 Canadian Premier Yearling sale, which attracted another huge crowd. We're back at the barn, profiling Ashley Bako, who had a busy day at this year's sale. Find out why. This week's Be an Owner takes us from the back 9 to the backstretch as we tee up the story of a freshman foursome. Woodbine Racetrack's Jackpot High 5 surpasses the $1 million mark, so what's the best approach to play the bet? And it's a showdown between a rider and her agent in this edition of Head to Head. Talkin Horse Racing right now. All kinds of big numbers aboard that big board recently as part of this year's Canadian Premier Yearling sale. Welcome inside the pavilion, Jason Portwando, Jennifer Morris, and this is Talkin Horse Racing. And Jen, always an exciting time. You got the young ones inside the ring here, strutting their stuff with a lot of people watching their every move.
I mean, this was the pivotal day for breeders and potential horse buyers in Ontario. The horses are up for sale. There was lots of people out there over the course of almost a whole week looking at horses, scrutinizing everything about them, whether the way they were walking, the way they looked on x-rays, everything. And then we sold a whole bunch of horses, and now we get to see them race next year.
Oh, I can't wait. You know, the attention to detail, like young kids, sometimes you have to expect the unexpected. Mother Nature obliged. A beautiful day on this Thursday that we had the event, and I tell you what, now, as you said, we look forward to them hitting the track next season.
That's right, and we caught up with a whole bunch of people who were looking and then buying horses at the sale.
Well, I'm here with a few friends, and we're hoping to pick up a couple yearlings and hopefully the next big star for Woodbine. I've had a lot of success. I find that most of the yearlings we purchased at the sale have been success stories. They've all gone on to win, and of course, our biggest success story was with Neshama, who won the Oaks last year. She was a bargain. She cost $60,000, bought in partnership with David Anderson and John Fielding, and she's won close to $500,000. So we're proof positive that the CTHS sale is where to go for horses. They've got to pair themselves up with a good trainer and someone that knows how to look at yearlings and someone who's willing to take the time and show them what they're looking at, and so they can learn the process. And they have to figure out a budget that they want to set out with before they get into an auction scenario, because it gets very exciting and you can lose sort of perspective pretty quickly. But all in all, if you align yourself with the right people, you'll be okay. Getting down to that infield winner's circle. It's over a year for us, and it still feels like it was yesterday. Unbelievable.
I'm looking for a future Queen's Plate winner. I bought one last year. He's training really well. I hope to get him to the races really soon, but he won't be a Queen's Plate horse, mind you, unfortunately. But he's going to be for $15,000. I'm happy as anything. You go look at all the horses and you look at their conformation, and then with the assistance of your veterinarian, you check out their x-rays, and if they scope good, and you have a budget, and you try to get a little lucky. I have a client here. He has a bloodstock agent with him, looking, a very good fella, has got a great eye for a horse. And so between the three of us, we're going to put our heads together and hopefully we'll get a nice one.
Well, it started about 40 years ago, really, if you want to go back that far. No, yeah, we were just, just interested in the breed, and we were here yesterday. We did a little scoping out, and we come up with a couple of candidates, and we fortunately bought one.
One or two?
Two.
We're in the Old Forester market now. Old Forester is a stallion here in Ontario that has been one of the top producers of winners. He has been large and in charge. That's a line that I actually gave to John Carey, who stands Old Forester, and never had one before, so we thought we'd get into the market, and now we have two.
Well, he kind of bought us, to be honest. It was just a colt that we underpaid, or we thought we did, and we were surprised we bought him so cheap. and we kind of running back to see how bad he was, but we looked at him pretty good. We kind of liked him, and so we kind of feel as though he's a throw-in. The other one we bought, we really liked, and he was bought were a number that we thought we were comfortable with too. So we ended up with a couple of colts as opposed to just one.
I'm surprised at how low he went, because he's actually pretty well bred. He's a 3/4 brother to a horse that's a multiple stake winner. A 3/4 sister sold last year for about 70, and he actually looks like a man among boys, and we liked him.
We're old school. We've been doing this for a long, long time, and we go through the catalog and we look for horses that we feel have a license to run, and it doesn't necessarily mean an embellished black type pedigree, but they have to have a license, you know. And then we look at the physical animal and see if they look like racehorses, and then we look at the nitpicking stuff afterwards. And if there's something wrong, and the first two were very good, sometimes we can overlook a lot of the other things. Well, the nitpicking, when they get down on your knees and you're watching to see if he flips the left front a little and all that, and you know, when they're crossing the finish line, you can't really see that too much, you know. First, you know, he flips the left front a little, yeah, but he was 6 lengths in front of the second horse, you know. The repository is, in my history, is a relatively recent thing, but it's been around for a long time for most of the new people in the industry, and that's basically to ensure transparency and guaranteeing the integrity of the product by radiographs of the significant joints and endoscopic examination of the throat, probably the two things that go wrong with racehorses, and to make sure that you aren't starting out with a problem. There are a lot of horses, however, that, you know, you should have someone look at the radiographs that's knowledgeable about young horses, because there are a lot of things that will show up on a radiograph that are inconsequential in the adult long-term horse. And that would be the downside of the repository, unless you have a knowledgeable person evaluating, and you probably should, you know. In this business, you can't play with scared money, and I think it's got very expensive and very high risk, especially starting with a yearling, because you have no clue what's going to go on in spite of all the information you have. And I think partnerships and syndicates are super good nowadays, because they allow people to not, you know, sleep at night. Because if you have overinvested, you tend to be short on patience, and you get a little desperate, you know, and you run your horse a little soon. So whereas if you have a situation where you have the liability is spread out, you're a little more comfortable. You should always be comfortable, because it's supposed to be for fun. It's not. This is not a business. It's a game, and you better be able to have fun at it. If you are worried about tomorrow's bills, then you've spread yourself a little thin.
It's just a great opportunity for breeders who breed horses in Ontario, for them to market their product and to give them a place to sell them, and it gives the buyers an opportunity to buy them all under one roof. They're all Canadian breds. They're all eligible for the Canadian bred program. Most of them are Ontario breds, so they're eligible for that, and a good portion of those are Ontario sired, which make them eligible for all the Ontario sire stakes and the Ontario sire bonuses. I'd find a good trainer, someone who's good at buying yearlings well before the sale, so you can do your research and interview them, make sure that they have them, you know, you're compatible personality-wise, and tell them what you'd want. Get some money together that you can afford to spend. That, you know, treat it as a hobby, like if you owned a boat or had a golf course membership, and set out a plan. And if you do it well in advance, go through the catalog, learn about pedigrees, then come out to the sale and try to pick out a nice horse. There are also another way of doing it, and you had it on one of your shows, is claiming. That's another great way to get into the industry too. So we do both, and I'd recommend both.
So all in all, Jen, fantastic event. Here now is a look at some of the numbers from this year's sale. They actually sold more horses this year than in 2016. The average, though, was a little bit down in price.
A little bit down, but you know what? The good news is that the horses got sold. We sold more horses for more gross dollars. Hey, you know what? This is a big event. It's, like I said, an important event for everybody. We get to see the horses. I loved working here, you know? I mean, I used to run the tickets. When people bought horses, I would take the ticket up to the office, and then there'd be a final sale, so it was great. And there's a lot more sales throughout North America for the rest of this year and always going on. There's sales everywhere. Western Canada, Kentucky, you name it. I mean, people are always going shopping.
Sounds good. And a reminder, any more information you want, cthsont.com. Appropriately enough, this week's At the Barn, at the sale. And man, oh man, was she ever busy.
Oh my gosh, so this young lady we met actually studied something completely different in school, but we found her at the sales.
Let's meet her. At the Barn, brought to you by Ontario Racing and OLG.
My name is Ashley Bako, and I'm a show person with Shenandoah Farms. I've been in horses for like 15 years. I went to school for nursing, but clearly I'm still here, so I got into horses because my parents actually trained standardbred horses, so I basically was in the barn, and yeah, I just kind of fell in love with them. I started with standardbreds, and then I actually showed horses. I showed hunter jumpers all growing up, and then I got into the thoroughbreds. So I've experienced like 3 different worlds, and it is quite a change, but I don't know, at the end, they're all horses. I mean, they are all different, but I still love them the same. I've been with Shenandoah Farms for 5 years now. I look after all the stallions. We stand 3 of them. I do the help with the foaling. I prep the yearlings for the sales here. Basically any of the activities around the farm. My favorite part about the job would actually be prepping the yearlings and coming to the sales with them. They're my favorites. I've prepped yearlings now for like 6 years, and it's easy for me to prep a yearling for someone else like the farm and, you know, sell it, because I know at the end of the day that, you know, they're gone and they're not actually mine. I prepped my own yearling last year, and even though I knew from the beginning he was to be sold, I still cried. And that's the first one I've ever cried when I've sold. Everybody at the barn would agree that I spoil all my horses, and I like to talk to them and talk for them. So I don't know, I find that I like to think my horses like me a lot, but maybe they don't. You try to explain it to someone who's not in it and they don't understand why you don't have free time or you don't have this, but you know, your horses, they're living animals, they need you all the time, whether you like it or not, and they're kind of your life.
So that's really cool, because Ashley's got all of her bases covered. Standardbred horses, her dad's a harness trainer, thoroughbreds, stallions, babies, an integral part of Shenandoah's success.
Yeah, and you know what? Shenandoah Farms, owned by James and Janine Everett and their daughter Erica Everett Muse. I'm telling you, they had a great sale. They're based in St. Thomas. They've been around for quite a few years, but really, really have the best, some of the best stallions. They sell horses and breed horses, and Erica even has her own sales company in the United States.
Let's continue on with this sales theme, if you will. Be an owner this week. The subject, a freshman foursome. We're going to speak to the leader of the group, and you know, this ownership takes us from the fairway to the shed row.
Yeah, and it was a stable that was put together last year to buy their first horse, and they were back looking again this year. We talked to one of the fellows, so we'll tee it up.
All right. Be an owner, brought to you by the Jockey Club of Canada.
We came a couple years ago and we didn't buy. We got a little bit of the fever to come back and see what we could find, and made some good partnerships in the business. And last year we got the opportunity to raise our hand and bid on a horse, and we picked up a horse. We named her Piper's Heath after the golf course we own. An interesting thing we learned in the last year of having a baby is it's very similar to building and growing in a golf course. And you start with something that's new and fresh, and you have all these challenges that come along the way, and you watch it grow and become something special. And we've been able to do that with Piper's Heath this year, and we're looking forward to seeing her run either in the fall or next year. We're looking probably for another filly. We like going the filly route, and if we see something that intrigues us at the right price, you might see us add to the collection. As a team, we look at everything. Being probably the most inexperienced here, we look at something that is sound in mind, and a horse that we think looks nice and walks nice. And then we talk to our team of experts to help us look at the pedigree and understand the value in the horse. Like anything, when we built Piper's Heath Golf Club, people thought we were crazy to get in the golf business. Same thing with the horse business. So my wife and my sister said there's no money for more horses. But you know what? It's exciting. It's fun. It's great to watch them grow up and be part of that. And if you're into horses, it's a beautiful way to get to know them and have some excitement doing it.
Well, Jen, exciting times right around the corner because hopefully she's going to be starting soon.
Yeah, make sure we watch for Piper's Heath in the entries because we still have racing until middle of December, and I know they have their fingers crossed that she's going to race.
I love the way they're being patient. That's the way to go. Good stuff, guys. Time for this week's Let's Make a Bet, and it surrounds the very popular Woodbine Racetrack Jackpot High Five. For the first time ever, it has surpassed $1 million. It's a great bet if you can figure it out and be the only one to win it.
That's right. So this Jackpot Bet is a bet that, it's been carrying over since the late spring. So now, when it's not won by one single ticket, you can only win the whole jackpot if you're the only winner. So if you're not the only winner, then you do get a consolation prize, and half of the money carries over to the next day and the next day, and now it is just this huge number. So what Woodbine is planned to do now is to allow everybody to sort of share in the riches because, it's still being won by lots of people.
Which is important, yeah, keep playing.
That's right, keep playing for sure. But now there's a mandatory payoff, a giveaway on September 16th, Woodbine Mile Day. They're going to suspend betting on that bet a couple of days before, and then everybody who has the winning combination on Woodbine Mile Day, and it's always on the last race of the day, will get a share of what could be a couple of $1 million.
So here is, I guess, the $2 million question. How do you play a bet like this?
Well, certainly, think about it. If it's a 12-horse field, the number of combinations, you have to pick the first 5 finishers, okay? So the number of combinations in a 12-horse field is over 95,000.
Yeah, I was never good at the finite math.
And the base bet of this is only 20 cents, but if you try to get all those combinations, you're going to spend $19,000. Okay. Well, I don't quite have that much. So, I've been playing it regularly, and I've been trying to make my bet sort of look like a pyramid, where I use 1 or 2 horses that I like the best in the first and second slots, add a few more for third, fourth, and fifth. Any horse, any long shot can run fourth or fifth. So make sure you find a couple of price horses, make your bet sort of like a pyramid. You can spend whatever you want. You can spend, $3 on the bet with those combinations, or you can spend a couple of $100. It all depends on what you're trying to do. Do you want to be the only person that gets it, or do you just want to share in the wealth? I just want to share in the wealth a bit. So I'm going to spend a few bucks and see if I can get it.
To be honest, I haven't played it a lot, but I'm going to start now playing it more, just because the other day, recently anyways, a 20-cent payout, $27,000 for 20 cents.
That's right, I know.
Crazy.
I mean, the payoffs are great. So like I said, pick a couple horses you like, put them in the spots you like, and then throw in some long shots.
Yeah, just throw in some numbers, you just never know.
Yep.
Let's Make a Bet, brought to you by HPI Bet. One of the great benefits of becoming an HPI Bet member is you get 1 month of free streaming of racing from around the world for just signing up. That's a $100 value. Plus, for a limited time, you can get $100 when you sign up and bet $100 in your first 30 days. All right, time for this week's Jen's Gem. Forrest Brother, good effort. We were keeping an eye on that one. Did finish 4th at a price.
That's right. So we started doing Jen's Gem a different way, Jason. I'm going to show a race clip of a horse that maybe had a bit of a difficult trip, and then we're going to alert you to when the horse is running back on Twitter. We'll follow along. And Forrest Brother, he got beat 2 noses for 2nd place. The Superfecta paid $700, so I love the way he ran.
Okay. Jen's Gem, brought to you by 2001 Audio Video, home entertainment experts since 1971.
Okay, so Jason, this week's horse is Silent Sonnet. Now, you got to take a look at this filly, okay? I mean, she's a really nice horse. Here she is in a stakes race. She's number 2 horse. She's on the inside of horses, in the back of the field, just biding her time. Right now, the leader is Listen, Linda, Listen. That horse is going along pretty comfortably, so right away I'm a little bit worried. But anyways, here we go into the turn, and Silent Sonnet is creeping up on the inside. She looks like she's going to make a big move. As she comes into the stretch, she comes off the rails to go in between horses, but look what happened. She just ran out of room. She got jostled around, pretty much lost all of her momentum. She's coming down to the finish line, but it's way too late. A good race, but you know what? Next time for Silent Sonnet. I love the way she galloped out after the wire. Hey, let's pay attention to this horse the next time she runs. We'll make sure we put her name on Twitter for you. Watch out for Silent Sonnet the next time she runs.
Hey, the Twitter point, very important because, follow Jen at Jen's blog. You can follow me at JPorty13 and the show as well.
Of course, the show is at Talkin_horses. And hey, Nicole won our contest.
Oh, that's right, yes.
I mean, the Breeder Stakes contest, she picked the winner, and she's watching from Chicago, of all places. I mean, that was awesome.
We love it. Channel Maker was huge, so congratulations. We'll find a way to get you that Talkin horse racing shirt. Let's go head to head. It's about time, right?
Yep.
We like to put people to the test, going up against one another, not necessarily horse racing related topics, multiple choice trivia.
I love watching the Backstretch people, whatever they do, and whether they know things about movies or food or sports or whatever. And this week's Battle of the Backstretch is a young lady, a jockey, and her agent.
Head to Head, sponsored by the Canadian Thoroughbred Horse Society, providing assistance and representation within the thoroughbred breeding industry. Head to Head this week, another battle of the sexes. This is going to be a beauty. Rider Sheena Ryan taking on her agent, Steve Roberts. So serious bragging rights on the line. You guys are ready?
Sure. Yep.
All right, this week's category is food. All right?
Excellent.
All right, let's go. Question number 1. What fast food franchise has the most worldwide locations? All right, A, KFC, B, Subway, or C, McDonald's? Most worldwide locations. KFC, Subway, or McDonald's? Answers are B, Subway, C, McDonald's. It's actually Subway, he's right. 44,000 chains. McDonald's has 36,000. 1-0 agent. Ooh. Question number 2. Which popular soda beverage was originally developed as a mixer for whiskey? Either one of you drink? No, you don't drink. All right. So what's the chaser here? Is it ginger ale, Sprite, or Mountain Dew? Originally, it was a mixer for whiskey. This could be it. Ginger ale, Sprite, Mountain Dew. Answers are ginger ale, ginger ale. No, it's Mountain Dew. Oh. So it's still 1-0 Steve. All right. Question number 3. Yeah, who does, right? The paperboard Chinese takeout box was invented in what country? Okay, well, we've all had takeout food. All right, so where was that Chinese takeout box invented? A, United States, B, China, or C, Japan? US, China, or Japan, where was the takeout box invented? Answers are A, B. It is A, United States. And with that, oh, shutting her out.
Don't mess with the chubby guy.
Oh, man, Steve Roberts. Oh, man, you're never going to hear the end of this. You know that, right? Oh, my God. Good fun, guys. So, right, Steve beating Sheena. Well done.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, no, thank you. Time now to check out what's making headlines in the world of horse racing with the latest. Brought to you by 2001 Audio Video, home entertainment specialist since 1971. The incomparable Winx has done it again, stretching that win streak to 19 straight, capturing the Group 2 Chelmsford Stakes. The 6-year-old mare left it late once again, gobbling up the pace-setter Red Excitement in the final 100 meters under jockey Hugh Bowman. Winx is now 6 off the record of 25 in a row set by Black Caviar. After eclipsing Arrowgate with his win in the Whitney, Gunrunner has solidified his top spot in the NTRA poll with another huge performance winning the Woodward. That's now 3 straight Grade 1 victories for the 4-year-old who ran up the score, crushing by 10 1/4 lengths. The now $5.6 million man will rest until the Breeders' Cup Classic and that highly anticipated rematch with Arrowgate. Jockey Ramiro Castillo had quite the ride recently, visiting 3 different winner circles over a pair of weeks aboard 2 different breeds. Ajax Downs' leading quarter horse rider enjoyed his usual success at his home base. He also picked up a victory for his wife in a mile contest at Fort Erie before heading out west to Northlands Park in Edmonton, where he secured another score in a quarter horse event. That's it, another show done just like that.
Oh, there was so many neat people on there, horses and people. I mean, it's so exciting to see the enthusiasm, people that have just bought their first horses or they bought more horses, and boy, we're going to be cheering them on next year.
Can't wait. Hopefully we've sold them on this show. That's it for this edition of Talkin' Horse Racing. For Jen Morrison and all of us here at the program, Jason Portwando, thank you as always for the company. We'll see you again next time. This is pretty cool, Jen. So this is what happens. So the horses come in through here and they're like parading and like,
do I hear $5, $5, $5? Do I hear $5 from anybody? $5, $5?
$5?
Anybody? Okay, $4, $4, $4, $4. Anybody? Any bids?
$4?
Anyone?
And
50 cents?
50
Anybody?
cents?
Any bids?
Whatever. And then they move around through here and it's like, sold. Probably like $1 million. $4.